Hey, how's it going? My name's Dylan. I want to talk today about Bob Dylan's record from 1970, Self Portrait. Now, I have this, then I also have the bootleg, another Self Portrait, which I love this. It's so cool. It's just such a great set. I have this and the complete Basement tapes bootleg series of the set like this with the book and everything. And I really love the way that it looks, and it has some great photos in there. You know, it's just any Dylan fan, I think, should invest in these deluxe bootleg series boxes. But what I'm going to talk about today, Self Portrait, is perfectly drawn out, in my opinion. This record, it's what it is. It's a self-portrait of Dylan's work at the time. And this album came out in 1970, and he made, you know, anyone could have drawn this. That's what the typical viewer would think. And some people criticize this artwork. I think that it's really beautiful artwork, personally, and I think if I had a print of it, I would hang it up, you know? It's just Dylan doing what he wanted to do at that moment. And I think that there's a lot of pressure for him to put out a lot of records in this time period. I know in his book, when New Morning came out, he felt kind of pressured into doing that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he almost felt like his label was forcing him to put out some stuff. So I don't know if that was the case with this record, but it's gotten some flack. Now, this album is a double album. It has a gatefold, and it got some criticism at the time. People don't necessarily say that this is their favorite Bob Dylan album. Some people often write it off as being not a great album. I personally love it. I think maybe it's the time period in my life that I was listening to it and playing it in the car, but I think it's a really great cruising down the highway album, and it makes you feel like you're just enjoying life to the fullest. Now, the part that I don't like about this record, there are two tracks in specific, She Belongs to Me live and Like a Rolling Stone live. Not that they're not good performances, but it just harshly comes in, and it kind of breaks up the flow of the album. Now, this album, the flow of it, that's a broad term because there are so many covers. Like I said, there's instrumentals. There's an opening song, All the Tired Horses, which basically is just a female choir singing All the Tired Horses in the Sun, How Am I Supposed to Get Any Riding Done, over and over. When I first heard this album, I thought that that was a mistake, that I bought the wrong album, because I was so surprised that Bob Dylan would have started the record off like that, but it was his album. Then Alberta kicks in, and I love Alberta. Alberta #1, because there was a #2 on the album. He did that too. He had one song, and then he revisited the song, and some people just didn't like it. I don't know. It's not a grand, you know, White Album, like grandiose album where everything is a perfect track and people, you know, do in-depth analysis of the songs. This album is what it is, and it's a self-portrait. The song Days of 49 is a tale of a 49er basically reminiscing about the California Gold Rush, which is pretty cool. And he tells the story in this song, and it's a pretty good song. I love the song Days of 49. Now, there are a lot of covers on this album. There's Paul Simon covers, The Boxer. There's a Gordon Lightfoot cover. What else is there? There's Everly Brothers. It's just really obscure stuff. And I do, like I said, I do love this album, I just think that it's so unconventional to a point where most people are going to say that they don't like it. And that's okay. It's really okay. And I think one of the highlights on this record is Dylan's cover of The Boxer by Simon and Garfunkel. As I mentioned before, this song was on the album. And it has a dual vocal track. So it's Dylan's raspy, sort of rugged voice with his new, like I said, Roy Orbison-like voice. And it's just juxtaposition at its finest. And I think it's really cool that he added this on here because he knew that he was doing something different with his voice. And I don't think he really cared that he was changing it up. And I'm sure some people, like on Nashville Skyline, they were kind of tripped out about what he did with his vocals. And that's only likely. You know, he really switched it up with every record he did. And he didn't care about anything. If you would ask him a question, he would give an answer of, you know, what does that mean? What are you talking about? What do you want me to do? What do you want me to say? That was his typical rhetoric when Bob Dylan would talk. And I really admire him for that. He just did whatever he wanted to. Yeah, so those are just some of my thoughts on Self-Portrait. Another Self-Portrait box set. This has some really cool songs on it. I enjoy this a lot more than this because it has the original Self-Portrait on it. So, not to say that I like this better than this album, I just like owning this piece of merch or this box set better than owning the vinyl. I don't know, whatever that means. This has some great songs. These Hands, House Carpenter, Thirsty Boots. It has a different version of I Threw It All Away, which is a great song off of Nashville Skyline. Only a Hobo, which is on Greatest Hits 2. I love the version of Time Passes Slowly on here. And then disc 2 had a bunch of other great songs too from the New Morning sessions. I love the version of If Dogs Run Free. That's such a cool little song. It's great. I'm going to talk about New Morning, I think, next because I'm really digging that album. But yeah, what do you think about Self-Portrait and another Self-Portrait? Let me know in the comments below. That's about it for today. Thanks for watching and have a great one.